Hello everyone. In today's video, I'd like to slowly talk about life's suffering and happiness, incorporating Kūkai's teachings. Life has its calm moments, but also times when it's shaken violently like a storm, right? There might be times when you don't know what to believe or where to go. In such times, we feel like we're about to be swallowed by the waves of suffering. But Kūkai said that suffering has a deep meaning, and it's created by our own hearts. Learning and growing from suffering. We all have attachments in our hearts. Desires to make things our way. Regrets about the past. Anxieties about the future. These thoughts disturb our hearts and lead to suffering. But if suffering is just misfortune, why does it exist in this world? It's because suffering is a path to awaken us. Without storms, we can't become strong or gain wisdom. Kūkai said that great wisdom is born from deep suffering. Suffering is a trial for us to know ourselves more deeply and open our hearts to a larger world. That's why it's important not just to lament suffering, but to ask what meaning it holds. Trees sway when the wind blows, but trees with strong roots don't fall in any wind. We, too, can deeply root ourselves while swaying in suffering. Changing mindsets and attracting happiness. So, how can we free ourselves from suffering? Kūkai taught the practice of Sanmitsu-gyo, three mysteries practice. Sanmitsu refers to aligning the three Shishin body action, Ku, mouth speech, and I, mind intent. If the words we casually utter in our daily lives hurt others, those words will eventually circle back and torment us. If we harbor anger or hatred towards someone, those thoughts will tighten our hearts and eventually become blades that hurt us. However, if we consciously speak good words, mind good deeds, and keep our minds calm, suffering will naturally fade, and peace will come instead. Also, Kūkai taught Shi-gu-seigan, 4 Great Vows. This teaches the importance of having a great heart that wishes for the salvation of all people, no matter how small we are. In modern times, many people only pursue their own happiness. But true happiness isn't just for oneself, it deepens by sharing with others. Suffering in human relationships arises when there's a lack of understanding towards others. However, by not seeking only our own fulfillment, but wishing for the happiness of those around us and supporting each other, we can gain deeper peace. Noticing and appreciating the happiness here and now. Happiness isn't something to obtain, but something already within us. Kūkai taught this, but many people don't think that happiness is within themselves, and continue to seek it in the outside world. Money, status, relationships, success. They believe they can be happy if they get these, and constantly chase something. But why don't they feel fulfilled no matter how much they get? It might be because they're losing sight of what's truly important, while looking for answers in the outside world. Kūkai emphasizes the importance of looking within ourselves, not outside. Happiness isn't born from obtaining something. It's already in our hearts, and noticing it is true happiness. So, how can we notice this inner happiness and attract it? First, it's important to align our heart's vibrations. Our hearts, though invisible, influence our surroundings as vibrations. If we're trapped in anger or sadness, those vibrations will lower, and we'll attract similar suffering. However, by having gratitude and compassion, those vibrations will rise, and happiness will naturally be attracted. Kūkai emphasized the importance of chanting mantras. Mantras are words that condense the wisdom of Buddha, and by chanting them, our hearts are purified. Our consciousness is aligned, and the flow of fate changes. For example, the mantra, Namu Daishi, Henho Kongo, is for receiving Buddha's protection through Kūkai. By repeatedly chanting these words, our heart's vibrations are aligned, and pure energy is born. Mantras have a mysterious power, and by chanting them, confusion and anxiety disappear, and fate gradually flows in a good direction. In fact, many people have calmed their minds and turned their lives around through mantras since ancient times. Another thing Kūkai valued is the idea of harmonizing with the universe. In Kūkai's view of the universe, we're part of the universe and connected to all beings. If you feel life isn't going well, you might be going against the flow of the universe. By surrendering to the natural flow, instead of moving only by your desires, life will proceed surprisingly smoothly, and happiness will come. For example, if you swim against the river's flow, you'll be exhausted. But by letting yourself go with the flow, you can move forward lightly. Life is the same. The more you try to get something forcefully, the more your heart suffers. However, by believing that what you need will naturally come around, and living each moment preciously, the flow of life will become surprisingly calm, and happiness will increase. Furthermore, Kūkai valued the practice of fuse giving. Fuse isn't just about giving money or things, but about enriching one's heart through good deeds. Praying for someone, saying kind words, smiling at someone. Even that raises our heart's vibrations, and happiness comes around. In modern times, many people believe they can be happy by obtaining something. But in reality, we can feel true happiness by giving. Strangely, when we try to make someone happy, our own hearts are also filled. For example, when you help someone in trouble on the street, you'll feel an indescribable warmth. That's because our souls naturally seek to live with others. When we only think about ourselves, attachments are born, and our hearts suffer. But when we live for someone, our hearts are liberated, and happiness naturally wells up. Happiness doesn't come when we obtain something. Kūkai taught that it's already within us. We just don't notice it. That's why, if we can change our mindset here and now, happiness will spread infinitely. When we realize that happiness isn't in the distant future, but in this moment, our lives will change significantly. By practicing Kūkai's teachings, we can attract happiness with our own hands. Instead of being swayed by fate, chanting mantras, aligning our heart's vibrations, surrendering to the universe's flow, doing good deeds for someone, each of these awakens the happiness sleeping within us and enriches and calms our lives. Happiness isn't something to chase, but something to notice. And it's already within you. How was it, everyone? I hope today's talk resonated with you and gave you a chance to practice it in your daily life. Life has its calm days, but also times when we're swallowed by violent rapids. Sometimes, we don't know where to go and struggle to go against the flow. But Kūkai's teachings say that suffering isn't an enemy, but a teacher who leads us to awakening. We dislike suffering and want to avoid it if possible. But is that really necessary? If there were no suffering in life, what could we learn and realize? Only through trials can we deeply look into ourselves, gain wisdom, and change our mindsets. Kūkai left the word, Sokushin Jobutsu, attaining Buddhahood in this very body. This is the teaching that enlightenment and true happiness lie beyond overcoming suffering. Enlightenment isn't something only those who have undergone special training can attain. It's a path open to us living now. So, how can we transcend suffering and reach true happiness? It's by realizing that the door to happiness lies within suffering. Kūkai taught that the deeper the darkness, the brighter the light shines. In other words, the light that illuminates. The heart lies in the darkness of life. When you're suffering, look deep into your heart and ask what that suffering is trying to teach you. Then, you'll always find an insight. When you gain that insight, you'll change significantly. Also, happiness isn't about obtaining something, but about knowing it's in this moment. Happiness isn't waiting somewhere in the future. It's already here, just by changing your mindset in this moment. Noticing the small joys before you. appreciating someone's smile, bathing in the morning light and taking deep breaths. In such daily life, we can find infinite happiness. Kūkai's teachings show us that happiness isn't beyond suffering, but becomes visible when we accept suffering. That's why, when your heart is about to sink from suffering, ask yourself, what is this suffering trying to teach me? When you find the answer, your heart will lighten, and the flow of life will become surprisingly calm. True happiness isn't a life without suffering, but living peacefully, finding meaning in any suffering. When you gain that wisdom through Kūkai's teachings, you'll surely feel a different world spreading before you. Life flows like a great river. Don't go against that flow, surrender to it and live each moment preciously. Then, even suffering will become a light that leads you to deeper happiness. I hope today's talk lights a warm light in your hearts and helps you spend your days peacefully from tomorrow. Thank you for watching until the end.